Hey everyone, here is a quick mini lesson about how to think through a memoir. First and foremost, a memoir is a historical account of a period of time written from personal knowledge and experience. So, what a memoir is closest to is a biography, um, or I should say an autobiography, because typically a memoir is written by the person that experienced that situation. Usually, instead of like an autobiography that covers someone's whole life, um, a memoir covers an important part of their life, an important experience they went through. A lot of times, politicians or athletes or musicians, they write them about maybe specific important parts of times in their lives, or a special event, that kind of thing. So we're going to read an excerpt from James Baldwin from Notes of a Native Son, which is an essay series. That's a memoir. A memoir doesn't have to be a book. It can be written in a variety of ways, and this one is an essay. So I'm going to point out the things that I want you to notice. Make sure you're taking notes. Um, and a couple things. A memoir is autobiographical, which means it's nonfiction, but a lot of the times it's a story told almost like a fictional story. So there's elements of plot within a nonfiction text because it's creating a narrative, which is just a story. He, my father, was, I think, very handsome. I gather this from photographs from my own memories of him dressed in his little Sunday best and on his way to preach a sermon somewhere when I was little. Handsome, proud, and ingrown, like a toenail, somebody said. So here's some things that I notice. I notice James Baldwin, is describing his father. He's giving some physical characteristics, says he was handsome. He knows it from photographs and his memories. And additionally, the thing that stands out in those maybe photographs and or memories is that his father went to preach sermons. He was described as handsome, proud by people other than James Baldwin, but most importantly, he was described as ingrown like a toenail. An ingrown toenail, if you don't know, is part of a toenail that hasn't been clipped and is growing into the skin. So it's an annoying problem that kind of persists and causes discomfort. But when he's described as a toenail, the thing that I notice is like a toenail. This is a simile. So I'm going to use all that information to answer these questions below to get through my thinking. So who is the author writing about, or what are they writing about? Well, James Baldwin is writing about his father. What is happening to the subject, or what are they writing about as far as the subject is concerned, the experiences? Well, it sounds like he's explaining his memory of his father, good, bad, and everything in between. Now, we only have a paragraph, but let's go ahead and expand and try to inference from that. What kind of language is used to describe that situation? Well, we have a simile. Simile is very important because it compares the father, handsome, proud, but like an ingrown toenail. And then we want to think about the experiences that the author is having from this simile. So, what emotions is the author showing that show his experience? So, like a toenail that's ingrown, if you have an ingrown toenail, or if you've ever had one, or you know someone who had one, they're annoying. Um, they can be painful. They're discomfort, or they're uncomfortable. They cause discomfort. So it's all of those things that he's using to describe his father, but also handsome and proud. So we're going to go ahead and change that. We don't need this section in here, so we're going to get to our questions. How does the narrator's thoughts in the paragraph contribute to the story? Well, his thoughts about his father are about maybe his physical characteristics of his father, but also they start to describe his personality as ingrown. So they reveal that the narrator had a strong bond with his father? I don't know that we have any information to suggest a strong bond, especially because he's learning this from other people. They show that the narrator is attempting to be kind when describing his father. Well, if he was trying to be kind, he would say handsome and proud, but he would not say ingrown. They demonstrate the narrator's sense of regret with his father. I don't see any ideas or emotions or descriptions of regret. They reveal the narrator had complicated feelings about his father. I think that's ours. D is going to be our answer. Read the sentence from the paragraph. That's 9D. Figurative language. The author's use of simile in the sentence conveys to the reader that the narrator was not as concerned with his father's looks as his father might have been. Well, his father does sound, maybe if he was dressed well, if he was handsome and proud, it sounds like maybe he was well put together, thought about his clothes, his looks, that kind of thing. And the author, James Baldwin, doesn't seem to be super concerned about that as it being important. It just seems like it's something he remembers. Or at least it's maybe not as important to him, but it was important to his father. So could be A. We got to keep reading though. Does the simile show that the narrator wrote in a way that painted his father in a favorable light? Well, favorable, I know, means good, and some other things, but ingrown toenail is not good, so it's not B. Does it unfairly remember his father's flaws? Well, unfair is kind of hard to say. We don't know if this is fair or unfair. We don't have enough information to make an inference about that. And we don't have any words that describe lack of fairness. So we don't think it's C. So D wanted to communicate that the memories of his father were influenced by others. Well, then we have ingrown, like a toenail, said, or somebody said. So that's important because he doesn't remember that, but he remembers him dressed well. So it sounds like his memories of his father are maybe a bit distant, maybe not complete, and they're having to be put together by other people since he used what somebody else said for that simile. But he also thought it was important enough to include, which means our answers are between A and C. I think there's not enough information that describes how James Baldwin feels about his father's looks. D is going to be our best answer. So we use who is the author, what's happening, what kind of language, and then the emotions that come from that language to answer questions 1 and 2 or any other questions that are similar. All right, hope this helps.